What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are going to be talking about these buffs to Captain America and Star-Lord. Both those are two of my main characters in Marvel Future Revolution. So anytime they get buffs, I'm very happy. So with the introduction of this latest maintenance patch, they have done some significant buffs to both these characters, and we're going to talk about them right now. Because also, additionally, I just released the updated guide for the PvE build for Captain America. And right after I dropped that, about 30 minutes later, this news dropped. So people are asking about that, and then also I get in comments on my Star-Lord Pyro build, asking about if these changes to Star-Lord have changed that at all. Answer to that is going to be yes. And we're going to break down all of that, and we're also going to try out these buffs to Star-Lord in the raid a little bit, because today's Vision Day. Vision moves around a lot. They've changed the tracking on one of his abilities for Star-Lord, so fingers crossed it does a whole lot better today. But let's start by talking about what's happening with Captain America. So they are buffing overall. His guard damage on several of his abilities have been significantly buffed, and we had a very nice buff to his impact reflection ability as well. His ultimate skill, impact reflection, his ultimate, it absorbs damage dealt to him while charging up, and then he basically smashes the ground and releases that energy, and the damage that he absorbs during that charge up period will drastically increase the damage of his ultimate at the same time. Also made it so that he can't have his guard broken during this time. It drastically increased his defense. It made his damage reduction go up by like 80% or something drastic. It does a lot. But in addition to that, they have now given him this debuff immunity while he's casting, meaning that you can no longer apply things like defense down or blind or attack down or burn or anything that's going to reduce his attack or his defense. You can no longer apply those to him while this is charging up. And it also seems, if it's debuff immunity, I imagine it's also going to cleanse all negative effects from him while this is casting. So big buff to him while charging that ultimate. That ultimate is one of the longer ultimates to charge up in the game anyways. He doesn't get it off very often. This is very much a nice buff to PvP. And also, honestly, these other buffs to Cap are pretty much PvP buffs. You will find some uses for them in PvE as well, but this is built to make Captain America much stronger in PvP. So the other three things that got buffed here were guard damage on Unbreakable Will, Sentinel of Liberty, and Reporting for Duty. Unbreakable Will is the better of the Vibranium release ability. Sentinel of Liberty is the one where he spins in circles. There's a release ability inside Sentinel of Liberty, but that release ability means you're losing one of your absorption abilities, so I don't really go for it. And Reporting for Duty is his shield throw absorption ability. So all three of these are getting a tick up in their guard damage. So you can see, like, Shield of Courage, for instance, is going from medium guard damage to high. And Neutralization on Unbreakable Will is going from high to highest. So all these are getting a nice buff in their guard break damage. And so far in my testing, in just raids, I have found that this has made quite a bit of a difference for guard break. It does not mean guard damage is a go-to stat for Captain America. Especially with these buffs here, you don't need to worry about the guard damage increase anyways. I would say guard damage is still very much a PvP kind of stat, but I have noticed in talking to other players who are using Captain America, we have noticed that we are now breaking guard much easier in the raids now with these. These are three abilities that pretty much every Captain America uses anyways. So in raids and PvP, this is a big deal for breaking that guard. It's just guard break is much more valuable in PvP versus PvE. Now, these are all going to be pretty good. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the Captain America buffs at this point. Just, yeah, if you're looking, if you're struggling with Cap and PvP, which I know a lot of people have been, this is probably going to help you out quite a bit between this and the debuff immunity. This is a nice buff for Captain America and PvP. I really think this was a good buff to him, and I don't really have anything else to say about that. If you guys have any comments about Cap and this guard damage increase, and if you guys have any questions about, ask down below. Again, still don't think it's gonna be that good for PvP. Still don't think it's super important for PvE. It's a little bit nicer, but I know I'm gonna get some questions about that. But let's talk about Star-Lord, and by proxy, we're gonna talk about Storm a little bit as well. So the way the debuffs work with Star-Lord and Storm is that they have these element builds on them. You know, Star-Lord, I've talked about before, he's got fire, lightning, and ice builds. Fire seems to be the strongest overall. Ice is pretty good for PvP, and lightning is just kind of like that one where it's good, but it's going to take a lot to build up to get to good levels like ice or light or ice or fire. Fire is just an easier one to gear up for and doesn't take as much to invest in. So the way it worked is that in order to use their elements, so like for instance, fire applies burning debuffs, and at 8 stacks of burning, they get this burning debuff, which increases their damage taken by 25%. And that had to be reached by stacking 8 stacks of burning. They have nerfed this drastically. It's now, well, not drastically, but it's a really significant buff to Star-Lord and Storm in this. And that now you only need 7 stacks of burning. This is you think on the surface, you think, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually a pretty significant deal, because one of the things that Star-Lord has to do, and Storm has to do it as well, I'm sure, but Storm has quite a bit more power and attack for her and her abilities than Star-Lord does. Star-Lord, you had to really go for high debuff accuracy. And if you didn't, well, you were kind of suffering in the long run. So let me show you what my Star-Lord is running right now with debuff accuracy. Static effect accuracy, I'm running 44% bonus status effect accuracy on him. I needed that because I needed to make sure every stack of burning that I could apply would land. So cutting it from 8 to 7, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it is a very big deal. It does not mean we have to be stacking as much status effect accuracy. So it's still something you need to be stacking, but again, it's not a big deal. But so that's, yeah. I don't know how else to say that. But also, this right here, Laser Eraser, has improved the skill to the fire lasers while tracking the enemy's location during the skill. This is the most powerful ability in a Fire Star-Lord's build. This laser is actually one of the highest damage abilities on Star-Lord anyways. So the big problem with this was that every time he used it, it basically fires in a straight line. And when it fires in a straight line, it doesn't track, so you could just step off to the side. And it's not a full upfront damage ability. It ticks over time. So you can step to the side, dodge to the side, whatever, and pretty much the whole ability is wasted. So it was one where there was no real tracking on it, and that was a problem. And especially in raids, it's like Fenrir and Vision, who are constantly moving around a lot. This ability was very, very difficult to use on them, and that's why I would run Flame Cannonball a lot. And this is something that I said in my Pyro build, was I liked Flame Cannonball. My big reason for using this over Laser Eraser, number one, was the required stamina, but number two, a Laser Eraser, it was just, you had to basically make sure the target was standing still. Now you don't have to, at least that's what I've heard. We're going to find out here in a second when we go up against Vision to see if that is indeed true, but yeah, this in tracking is very, very good as well. And then Problem Solver Explosive Crescendo is giving a tech up in its guard break damage as well, going from medium to high. And let me see if I can pull that up for us. That was, let me see if I can find it. See, which one was that? That was Problem Solver Explosive Crescendo. So that is going to be this one right here. This is a chill damage. So, it's not for me with my fire build, but chill damage, I mean, it's not bad at all. But this is one where he kind of spins in place and, does some decent damage with it. So this is, getting this a nice little stack in guard damage was nice. I don't know much about ice builds, to be honest. I've got to talk to Kraken about that, so I can't really speak much on that buff and if that's a really good buff or not. So I can't speak much more on that. And I can't really speak much to the storm buffs as well either. I just know that the increasing or decreasing the amount that you have to stack from 8 to 7 is pretty big. Increasing the damage on her abilities here. In cast time, she has a very long cast time on some of her abilities, so I'm sure this is helping as well to decrease cast time by 30%. That's a pretty big buff to her casting speed, and also giving some more guard damage. So I can't really speak on what Storm does, how that affects Storm. I have to talk to someone about that who uses Storm, but if you do run Storm, let me know what you guys think about these buffs to Storm as well. But let's go back and let's try this raid for Vision. Let's see if we can get an idea of what this is going to do for Vision, and if this Laser Eraser tracker is much better now. Alright, so let's try this. Let's see. see how this tracking does against a vision. And once we get him hopping around, we'll see how quickly it does this. We gotta get him moving a little bit. There we go, yeah. Okay, so I can already see that he's moving around a little bit. That's very nice. Let's see. Yeah, I can already see it. So, like, as he's moving, I can see that it's tracking him, which is very nice. So, yeah, I can already tell the tracking's much better. Before, like, the laser doesn't move at all. So, he wasn't doing a thing at all with the character's move. It was just a straight line. I can at least tell that now, when Vision's moving, you can see the beam is tracking. So, already, I can tell that's doing much better. It's kind of hard to do it when this Widow does... when you have a Widow doing that much damage in like a minute. Yeah, it's hard to really tell on my end, but it's gonna be, we'll have to test this out another time. It's late at night too, so no one's really gonna join raids. It's late at night. But, you know, we go up against someone like Fenris. Fenris who moves a lot too. Fenris moves a lot, so Fenris would be a good example of seeing what a character or how well it's going to track. But just going off of that and what I've heard from people today, yeah, it looks like that tracks now, which is huge for Star-Lord. It's going to be fun to see how this changes him as well with PvP. And we'll be doing a PvP build for Star-Lord at some point. But yeah, I just want to go over the buffs and test out that laser tracking a little bit real quick. Let me know what you guys think down below of these buffs and what you think about this laser tracking buff now for Star-Lord as well. Make sure to like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.